Welcome back to this playthrough of Prime Minister. We're playing the Clockwork 2 scenario where I started as the opposition leader, and we will jump right back into the action. Current VP situation, I have 23, he has 48. He is smoking me with the electorate. And, you know, our standing, I've got 6, he's got 10. And we are doing bill selection. So he's got 180 partisans, which is not enough for him to select liberal bill from the liberal bill deck. So he's going to be drawing again from the cross-party deck. And as we talked about last time, what I'm really hoping to see is like 4 moderate bills here, because I need to kind of him to be in a position where he has to pick one of them. Because I'm not going to be able to do much to prevent him from passing all bills because of that 390. So that's kind of what I needed. So that's interesting. Let's see, he's got 260. Nope. Okay. So first things first, none of these moderate bills are within his selection range. None of them are. So he's going to start by pulling these 2 all bills. And so this one starts life at 390. Now, I can't do anything about that. This one, even worse, starts life at 410. So, but the good news is they aren't going to have much effect. I mean, I guess he can still go up a little bit with the gentry. He can go up 1 with the gentry. So then we get over to picking these moderate bills, and none of them is in his selection range. But he has to pick one. So he's gonna pick this one. Let's see. So what's interesting is at this point, I kind of wonder if he would pick this one because, you know, so it says, you know, bill selection is the highest in-range bill selection only. Highest in-range vote projection. Oh, okay. Well, he doesn't have any that are in range, but he has to pick one. So I'm going to take that last tiebreaker to mean that he's going to take the Food and Drug Act because it at least has the benefit of being the highest. So it is at 260. So now the trick I've got is that yeah, that isn't in his selection range, but it is in his defense range. And what that means is that he might defend it. So I may need to take some radical action here in the beginning to prevent him from defending that bill. Although it should be said, you know, this bill isn't going to have any effect if it passes. But the problem that I have with it is that what I don't want is, what I need to do is shift the standing. Although, boy, if I shift the standing, I'm just going to be in like a ridiculous minority government. Anyway, all questions for me to answer now that I have to do my action cubes. So I actually think that I need him focused on passing these bills. And so I'm going to leave him to do that. And I keep hoping that my hobnobbing will draw me some like wickedly good campaign cards. It's just not doing that. I mean, I'm just not able to keep pace with him is the problem. So I could drop him in the middle class, but you know, when he passes that bill, that he's just going to undo that. So that's not as good. So I could go up in Ireland or up in the gentry. So I guess I'm going to push myself up in the gentry. It's just not enough. It's not fast enough, you know? And I guess I'm just going to campaign in conservatives here. If only because that ends up getting me 3. It's not great, but it is what it is. Okay. Well, now over to him. All right, well, this is good. This is the kind of thing I need. So his election projections currently have him getting 380. That is less, so that is projecting him for a loss. So that gains me a standing and a victory point. Now, if I could just get, I've got this card. If I could just get one more standing, then I could get here, and then I'd have 3 action cubes, and then I would be able to start making a bigger difference faster. But next up is him. So influence is not futile at this point. So this bill is within his defense range. 260 is within his defense range. So he is actually going to do influence 3 times. So that's going to shift to 270 partisans, 270 moderates, 120 partisans. It's going to move this 1, 2, 3. Well, let's see. We can just do the math. 270. So that's going to move that to 320. Okay. So that is that. He's still not going to pass that. So he's going to pick the libel act to pass because it sort of wins the tiebreaker. It's going to move the gentry by 1, making this again kind of laughable. But it moves that by 1, and we both get 2 victory points. So no challenge, no election. Time to set up for the beginning of the next round. All right. So next turn, he will use influence to push. He will use influence to push that bill twice. And I'm going to have to be okay with that because much as I would love to get this, I don't think there's anything I can do about it. The most I could move it is 2. And he would still he'd still be able to move it into a passable range. So there's really not much that I can do about that. So I'm going to focus on campaigning because I want to make sure that he doesn't get way ahead again and start running elections. So I'm just going to look. I'm pegged in conservatives. I am, he was middle class and workers. So I've got plenty of room to run in middle class and workers. So I'm going to start by drawing a supporter card. Again, I just feel like I should at least take a chance on drawing something amazing. Those are not amazing. Those are terrible, in fact. I mean, again, I don't want to move him down in the gentry because then it makes that card useful. And at this point, favor is like completely, even favor in general is, in my mind, like the least important thing and just by a wide margin. In a game like this where I'm getting blown out, it's even worse. So that was an absolutely useless card, but now I'm going to campaign. So I will campaign. I'll just campaign in the middle class. Just not nearly as effective as I need it to be. Not nearly as effective as I need it to be. All right. His turn. All right, well, that's really good again. I mean, it's goodish again. So he loses a standing. Okay, I was just making sure. I remembered myself gaining a standing last time, but this time it says lose a standing. And I guess the cards are a little bit different that way. So he loses a standing, and I gain a victory point. So our standings are getting closer together. And also, if I could move his standing down by 1, he'd lose an action cube, which would be really, really good for me, I think. So, but he is going to use all of his cubes. Now, he's going to spend the first 2 cubes upping the number of partisans. So he's going to go from 270 to 310, from 120 to 80. And that's going to move this 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one stops it here, but his defense range goes up to 340, so he does it again, which kind of pushes it excessively out there. But then his third cube we have to look at. He's not gonna use influence. He's not going to debate, so he's going to campaign with the Liberals, which drives him up by 3. So the good news is that keeps him in a position where he's going to be losing the election, losing seats in the election. So he won't actually hold the election unless something dramatic changes, which it could. Okay, so now he's used all of his actions. So now it is time for bill selection. And realistically, well, the tiebreaker here is going to be victory points. This is worth more victory points. And he would go up in the gentry and the middle class, but he's already at the maximum in both of those. So he doesn't. And now we're going to loop around again. Okay, everything's reset. So I'm beginning to feel like by-elections are what I need. I need by-elections to move the standing track. But what that means is I got to make sure that the election doesn't get out of control. Now, I can play this card now, and I can move him down in the gentry because I don't have that card anymore that's out there making that, meaning that it's just going to undo that card. So we're going to do that. I'm going to hobnob and see if I can draw some good campaign cards here. So I can go up one with conservatives, or I could debate. I can't go up with conservatives. Well, let's keep CP Scott. The reason being it might be useful to be able to influence things next turn, because I think next turn, we're going to see even more moderate bills, and so my ability to kind of force him to spend some cubes there might help. So now I have a difficult choice to make. I could draw another supporter, but I think I need to take the definitive action to actually get the campaign or move him down on this track. So I'm going to do that to drive him down to 370. Okay, so now it's his turn. So a by-election would be great. Okay, so he's projected to lose the next election. He's going to spend a cube to campaign with workers. Workers. Oh. That's futile. So I guess he's not going to do that. That is futile. Okay, so he's not going to do that. So he's not going to do influence. He's not going to do that. So first choice is middle class, gentry, and liberal. Middle class, pegged. Gentry, he's going to campaign there. 1, 2, 3. He goes up there. Oh, shoot. I can see where this is going already. So now he's going to draw a supporter card. And this says hold for election, but we do have an election coming up. Well, okay, that turns out okay. So plus or minus 20 on this build doesn't help him. That's futile, but favor is not futile. So we're going to get him to waste an action on favor. But now the problem is he's going to campaign in the liberals. And that is going to drive him up by 3 more. 2, 3. So now he's here. So now he is basically, he's projected to, well, he's not projected to win seats, so he's actually not going to hold the election, but he's not projected to lose seats. That's what I was kind of, well, I guess it doesn't matter. I just wanted him to postpone the election. But before we even get to that, he passes the Merchant Shipping Act, which just moves the VPs a little bit, sort of advancing the game clock, if you will. That's the VPs mostly act as a game clock in this situation. No challenge is possible, and he is not going to hold the election because he is not projected to win seats. So with that, we'll end the video here, and we'll come back next time with bill selection and another round that, I'll move that will end in an election. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Hope you're enjoying the video. Hope you're enjoying the series. Hope you're enjoying the channel. It'd be great if you could leave comments with suggestions, like, for example, with games that you'd like to see come to the channel, or improvements that we could make to the channel, or if you spot me doing anything wrong rules-wise, let me know. And definitely subscribing and hitting the notification bell for when we produce new content would be great. But we will see you in the next video on Agility Snips Gaming Table.